Isekai'd with my dog. I'm not the hero? Chapter 1. Honey and Toast. For the record, my name isn't Honey, it's Mitsuta. It just happens to have the character for Honey in it, and believe me, I've heard all the jokes. I'm not sure what my parents were thinking giving a boy such a sweet name, but it's made my life a little more difficult than it had to be. I had a really rough time when that super popular romance anime movie came out, just because the main girl's name was similar to mine. My coworkers kept asking if I was from a different time. I wish, you jerks. Aside from that, I'm an average guy with average looks and an average life. I've only ever worked part-time doing various odd jobs, and the only noteworthy thing about me is my dog. My dog is a shining beacon in my otherwise mundane life. All the boring jobs in the world are worth working at just to come home to my best friend and spoil him with good food. Outside of my monotonous work life, I'm a nobody that spends all his free time indulging in the joys otaku culture has to offer, and taking too many photos of my precious dog. It's no surprise I'm not the main character, but you'd think after being hit by a truck I'd be given a second chance to be some cooler version of myself. I read about it all the time in manga. Some loser like me gets obliterated by a semi, taken to a fantasy world with game-like mechanics, and becomes the hero. Not me. It started when I took my dog for a walk, just like we do every day after dinner. This truck comes out of nowhere, almost like magic, and the next thing I knew I was in a blindingly white room. Frantically checking my body for injuries, I noticed my beloved dog Toast was with me, hiding behind my legs with his tail tucked in. A melodic voice called out, "Child of man, your aid is required." I looked up to see a gold throne with the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen so far, leaning on the armrest with her fist pressed into her cheek, looking rather all-knowing but also kind of bored. She had white and silver hair like a cloud, and an outfit that barely covered all the good parts, and was everything I'd pictured when I'd read about gods. I decided to confirm. "Are you a god? Am I dead?" She sighed, definitely bored. "Anyways, I brought you here to—" Ignoring me? "To vanquish the demon lord of my world. I'll give you some stat boosts so we can get this over with quickly. Level 99 always gets the job done." She waved her hand and a screen popped up in front of me. I barely had time to read it before Toast got curious and poked his head out from behind me to investigate. The goddess shot straight up in her chair and drew in a deep breath and... Oh my goodness, how cute! Before I could blink, she flew to us in an instant and began cooing over Toast. Yes, he is the cutest. "Look at this little man! Look at how fluffy! Look at the fluffy little baby! Oh my goodness, look at how cute you are! I can't even handle how soft..." I no longer existed to this lady. I tried getting her attention a few times to no avail. I get it at least. Toast is a puffy, fluffy Pomeranian with a ridiculously cute permanent smile. I worry that he's always hot with all that hair, but I read you're not supposed to shave Poms. I can agree with that because when I first got him, they'd shaved him to clear up a rash, but he looked like a Q-tip. Now that his fur has grown back in all its glory, his vibe matches a small, frilly girl way more than it does some gloomy dude like me. The only reason I got him was that he was missing an eye, so no one wanted him at the rescue. Lucky for me to be passing by that day, I couldn't resist his smile through the window, and we've been best buddies ever since. She cuddled with him with all her might for a few minutes, before quickly standing up, clearing her throat, and turning to me. Trying to play it off cool, huh? "Child of man, you must protect this creature with your life. Now go." "That's it?" The room started to pixelate and changed from its stark white to dark shades, and before long I could make out our surroundings. We appeared to be in the woods, and it was getting dark. I checked my body and felt disappointed that I looked exactly the same as I did before, even wearing the same shorts, dirty sneakers, and a t-shirt with a picture of a can of Silver Bounty sardines on it. How lame is that? Toast, on the other hand, was sporting a brand new golden harness and leash. There was some kind of charm hanging from the harness, but I didn't recognize the symbol. It looked like a wonky circle with a hieroglyph in the middle. Why did he get new gear? That goddess is clearly showing favoritism for him. He was starting to tug on his leash towards a bush, so I took it off knowing nature was calling. He never goes too far from me in the first place, and I doubt this new world has leash laws. Confused and with no tutorial, I spent some time cursing that goddess before finally getting that screen to pop up again. Level 1. What? Strength 10. What? Skills none. What? Job not assigned. What? I clicked on everything I could and there was nothing. I had garbage stats across the board. No skills, no powers, nothing. Then I saw Party as a tab. I clicked. There was a name. Toast? He had been sniffing around where we were in the woods, nonchalantly peeing on trees, when he heard his name and pranced over, tail wagging. His name appeared in the text above his head, so I clicked on it and fell back onto my rear as I tried to comprehend what I saw. Level 99. What? Strength 999. What? Skills acid shot, boost jump, barrier breaker, sonic bark. What? Job hero. What? That stupid goddess had given everything to him by mistake? Or was this some cruel joke that I was doomed to be an average loser, even in a new world? I was completely unsure of how to deal with this. How can my dog be a hero when he's the size of an electric mouse and weighs as much as a stack of dirty mags? Don't ask how I know that. Focus here. How do his skills even work? And what the hell is acid shot? Is sonic bark a joke that dirtbag goddess is making? My mind raced as I read through his status screen. Toast had gotten bored of waiting for me to do something and pawed at me for attention, so I pushed him over to rub his belly while I kept reading. He had a skill tree that looked like it used skill points to acquire new abilities, but a bunch of them were blurred out with a lock icon. How does that work if he's already level 99? There was an information icon next to the SP text, so I pressed it and a dialog box popped up. Skill points are acquired by defeating monsters. There is no limit to SP and they can still be attained after max level. Skill points are not awarded when leveling and are single use. A. A? Can I assume that's the ditzy goddess who caused this mess? I feel like she's making fun of me answering my questions so directly. As I fiddled around in the status screen, we heard someone scream in the distance. It sounded like a girl. Toast quickly rolled himself upright and started barking, pointing himself towards the now dark trees ahead of us. I briefly thought to myself that it seemed like a normal bark and not whatever a sonic bark was, but that thought was quickly turned to fear as a large shadow emerged from the thicket, towering over us with its body. It was easily 3 meters, and I managed to make out the shape of something that could have been mistaken for a moose in my world if it wasn't standing on 2 legs. It reached a mighty hoof toward me, and with no time to take in its other features, the next thing I felt was a blow to my side as my body was thrown out of the way. As I flew through the air, I saw that Toast had headbutted me. Is this how strong he is now? That little brute. I landed in some bushes nearby and tried to collect myself as quickly as I could, despite having what I was sure was a broken rib. I called out Toast's name, hoping he would come to me and we would run, but instead I saw him square himself in front of this beast 50 times his size. What I saw next left me speechless. Toast began to gag? His body convulsed, and I saw the familiar scene of him dry heaving, just like he did before throwing up. He always seemed to target my books at home, but now his eye was locked onto this monster before him. All of a sudden, a huge wet ball of slime launched from his mouth and hit the creature dead center in the face. The creature let out a roar that made me want to close my eyes in terror, but I watched the scene. It stumbled back as a loud hissing sound filled the air, and within seconds it fell to its knees and toppled forward onto its melted face. The massive body started pixelating and faded away, and Toast lit up with a small flash of color. I guess that's the acid shot? I scrambled out of the bush as best I could while recoiling from the pain in my side, and scooped up my little guy, checking him for any wounds. His status bar popped up and read full health at 3000 HP. Hopefully that's a lot. I wanted to check if that light meant any stat increases, but I was falling apart with worry for Toast, and wheezing from my injury. I held and cuddled him, thankful he was okay, when a small voice called out from behind me. "That was amazing!"